Yes, so this is 1963 version of boxing and wrestling. The wrestling's out the back. I'm going to start off on the boxing, but I'll just go on to page 60, just because it gives a bit of a mix before I get onto that. We got Bearcat Wright here, the son of Ed Bearcat Wright, who, I mean, he fought everyone. He had an 8-0 record, this kiddie, but his dad fought everyone. He had about 50, yeah, so he must have had just under 100 fights, his dad. I mean, recorded fights anyway, but back in the days, he fought Max Bear. He fought the Leaperville Shadow, George Godfrey. He was a cracking old fighter. Avoided fighter because of his colour. And Obie Walker, another avoided fighter because of his colour, the colour bar. Mickey Walker, he was a heavyweight. Mickey Walker was lighter, obviously. Mickey Walker coming up from welter, and many out there 100 fights. Johnny Risco was another one. He fought Johnny Risco. Chuck Wiggins, a lighter fighter but been in with everyone. Chuck Wiggins. A few times he fought Chuck Wiggins. Like I say, Tut Jackson. But yeah, just a little bit of historical value to that. Bearcat right here. But I'm going to come back on this. I'm going to go straight to the beginning and come back. So, just get this version. So it's a little bit on the front. Clay here. They're still calling them classes Clay here. It was the second Liston fight when he started was being called Ali, but still took a while for some to still call him Ali at this time. Laszlo Pack, so Billy Daniels there, who fought a few good people. So Laszlo Pack, he's fighting into his late 30s, kept in his own country of Hungary. Iron Curtain country wouldn't allow him to turn pro, but we go straight in here. Just arrange this a little bit. Yeah, so the first one, Ingemar Johansson. Ingemar Johansson. So it says Swedish lullaby here in the inset in Stockholm's largest newspaper carries the message, "Wake up, Ingo, you won." And he retired shortly. Again, Ingo had been in with Floyd Patterson, etc. Eddie Machen. He stopped Eddie Machen in the first round in his own country, in Sweden. I thought it was a bit unfair. He hit him on the ground, but you know, that's boxing. He got away with it, obviously, in his own country. Eddie Machen was a good fighter, actually, very underrated. But makes you laugh, these old advertisements here. So, a bit more on Clay there. Oh, Muhammad Ali. To be respectful there, because he was changed his name there. There's a little bit there. Yeah, he come round to beat Liston after getting knocked down by Henry Cooper, and no one would have given him a chance against Sonny Liston at the time, but he beat him twice. It's a bit on Billy Daniels, Mike DeJohn. There's a few good fighters. Cleveland Williams. He ended up fighting Muhammad Ali. Yeah, a few fights before he got incarcerated because of the Vietnam War. They took his best years off him. Ali would stop Cleveland Williams in the third rounds. Some say it was his best performance. Cleveland Williams got shot by a police officer, but he still went on to fight later on. Then we have Ezra Charles with Rocky Marciano. 2 fights they had. One of them, Marciano's nose opened right out, but he still won both of them. Ezra Charles, I mean, he beat Archie Moore 3 times. In some regard, Archie Moore's the best light heavy ever. But again, on the 3rd time he fought Archie Moore, he stopped him. Archie Moore would always fight Rocky Marciano, put Marciano down. In the heavyweight division, they both fought him. But again, Ezra Charles will come in after Joe Louis. So it's a bit like when Larry Holmes come in after Ali, sort of in the shadow of a great fighter, and they don't always get their full respect. And it's a bit like that in the heavyweight division anyway, with Ezra Charles. He was a bit like you could really say he was from the Black Murderers Row for a while, like Archie Moore was, when Archie Moore didn't get his light heavyweight title till he was 30. He had it for 10 years. So, Freddie Brown there. Harold Green. Yeah, Harold Green was a friend of Graziano. They grew up together. So, yeah, Lewis v. Pastor. Or Pastor. And again, I mean, someone calling this the Bum of the Month Club, but I don't think they were. I just think it was where Joe Louis was just on form, putting people away. And like Mike Tyson said when he was talking about Joe Louis to Harry Carpenter, you know, he said, you know, if they were all bums, then some of the fighters today would be called bums. If they were fighting Joe Louis, because he would knock out some. But yeah, good fighters. Disrespectful word anyway to call a fighter. I would never use that. Yeah. Joe Louis would rule for 12 years, 25 defences. And again, had a few dodgy ones along the way. Yeah, close decision with Jersey Joe Walcott, but he come back to stop him. Bit of trouble with Billy Conn, come back to stop him, better fashion, quicker time. So Laszlo Papp, yeah, Olympic champion. Sure, it's 3 times, but yeah. And again, you could always, it's one of them. You know, how good would he have been if he would have started being a pro earlier? He eventually was able to turn pro. Not going to. But Hungarian league obviously wouldn't let him. It was an Iron Curtain country. And again, yeah, 37 there. He is best since Marcel Sedan. Now, Marcel Sedan was a Frenchman who he lost to Jake LaMotta. When Jake LaMotta won the title, retired with injured shoulder. But he would die in a plane crash, unfortunately, as would Rocky Marciano. Obviously, they're whizzing about on small planes and that. But back to Laszlo Papp there. He wants to fight Dick Tiger, another good fighter. Papp has fallen Tiger Jones in 1962 March fight. So, yeah, Papp KOing. About Papp there still. And there's a few good fighters here. Sugar Ramos, Luis Rodriguez, Kid Gavalian. Like Tabolo Punch, Adi Gifrano Garcia. Kid Chocolate there. Meant to be 100-0 Kid Chocolate as an amateur. A Cuban fighter, but fought out of America, USA. And there's all talk about Emil Griffith, cracking fighter, up against a lot in his time. And again, bit about the sort of evolution of boxing, and then and obviously, of course, what comes up is the Benny Parrott fight, which I went through in another video, but I mean, as you see, there's the ring posts are not padded. After this fight, they would be padded because of this accident. But these are like, obviously, they're talking about the anti-boxing grade, and then you've got 3 days short of, so 3 days short of a year's anniversary of Parrott's death. Davey Moore met his fate as well. So I mean, this was all about people wanted boxing abolished, etc. Sugar Ramos won the featherweight title in the 10th round, and a great loss there. The death of Davey Moore there. Not the Davey Moore fighting Duran, obviously, a lot later on there. So I'm going to leave it there. That's the 15th Boxing and Wrestling Magazine videos. Bang.